One Star Rewind.
All right, here we are on One Star Rewind. I have entrepreneur extraordinaire, food genius, Youngdae Moon here on the podcast. Hello, Youngdae. Welcome.
Hey.
We will
No
be
hyperbole at all.
None whatsoever. Youngdae, we kind of go way back, man.
Yeah.
We worked at a news station almost together, but
Well, not really together,
Not
but you
really.
started right after, so you replaced me as the token agent.
I did. They always need the token agent, and I replaced them or you as the token agent. So fast forward, gosh, 15 years. It was probably longer or shorter. I'm not good with math, but tell us a little bit about Club Sandwich. Let's not go on for years and years about it, but how it got started and what it is and all those good things.
It's a food truck that I started out doing only sandwiches, kind of build your own sandwiches, mostly Vietnamese style,
Yep.
banh mi sandwiches. And then wanted to kind of expand the menu instead of just having one thing. So we added tacos and, like a lot of people do things now with, a bunch of stuff on top of fries or whatever.
Yeah.
But we added a rice bowl to the menu, and then that kind of took off and became my best seller.
Mm-hmm.
And we're located in Magnolia, so it became what most of the employees tell people they should eat.
Yeah.
And it became kind of like the main thing that Chip and Joanna and all their kids eat at the silos. They blew it up on social media. Nobody bought sandwiches anymore. We threw away almost all of our bread every day, fresh baked bread every day for 2 months before I
Jeez.
just took it off the menu and just. So now I am a one-trick pony. Just do rice bowls, But,
Dude,
yeah.
I love it. I think that's like always the common or the question. Oh, why is it called Club Sandwich?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's why I'm outside all day.
yeah, totally.
And in the summer, it sucks.
All right, man. Well, we're just going to dive in. I'm going to read the one-star review. We're going to talk about it and what you learned from it, what made you better because of it, and we'll go from there. So we're actually going to do a double one-star because the first one I think is good, but it's short. The second one kind of dives in a little bit deeper into maybe how you started and what you were just referencing, but why that made you choose or go down a different path. So we got 3 months ago from Kyle Anderson. Okay, good old Kyle here. You always get suspicious when they don't have a picture on the Google review because it means it's probably like somebody that just did this real quick. He just said, went a bit back. Its name is, and in the quotations, Club Sandwich Food Truck, but they don't serve club sandwiches. Okay, so very brief to the point, but basically Kyle is talking about why it's not called Club Sandwich. The second one I want to talk about, and it kind of connects this together, is from 4 years ago. So I know you remember this guy, right? His name is Daniel B. Good old Dan. Unfortunately, this is not authentic Vietnamese food. The bread wasn't even toasted. It's pretty pricey with a Y, apostrophe Y too. I would say this Viet American with more emphasis on the American. It's high disappointing given that Waco is in dire need of true, all in caps, Asian food. Not another Asian American or fast food fake attempt at Asian food. Skip this place and try clay pot. Oh, it's closer to authentic Vietnamese food. I will say you had a nice response here that said, I'm sorry you didn't enjoy your visit. We actually don't claim to be authentic Vietnamese.
I don't remember that.
You said this, more of a fusion truck. And this is the best part. This is why I love you. We're also primarily Korean influenced. Can't argue with clay pot, though. They do a great job. So you had an opportunity to like shit face clay pot, but you were like, you know what?
We can swear. All right.
Oh, okay. All right. We can do that too.
Okay.
And you said, no, we can do it. They do a great job. So let's talk about the first one because again, that's the short one and it's to the point. Went a bit back. Its name is Club Sandwich Food Truck. So talk about why you went with Club Sandwich. And I know you just kind of said it, but reiterate that. And then why you never wanted to change that if it's confusing to people.
Well, there's no really good explanation. It's called a club sandwich because we're going to do a bunch of different sandwiches, and it was kind of started as an inside joke with my buddy, my best friend who lives in Atlanta. Sorry, I'm about to burp. we're eating pie right now.
Oh,
Sorry.
the pie is so good.
Anyway, so he had a taco place he liked going, and it was, kind of upscale tequila bar and whatever. And I used to joke and call it Club Taco, and like, have you been to Club Taco? And then we decided to, just when it came time to start my business, I decided to call it Club Sandwich because we were going to offer all different types of sandwiches.
That's cool.
Anyway, so when the rice bowls took off, part of it was just practical. Like we'd have to close for a number of weeks to redo the truck.
Yeah.
Like rewrap it and rebrand it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just at the silos it's too busy to close.
Sure.
And I'd just be crapping money,
Yeah.
So or flushing money.
Yeah.
So anyway,
We can crap money too. That's fine.
So it's weird, and I get it, and that's part of why all I do, because everything at Magnolia, like all the different food trucks, they're great. Everybody there is really good.
Sure.
I have a speech I give. I have one speech with little adjustments here and there that I give all day, every day.
Yeah.
Part of it is that all I do is stand outside, hand out samples, explain the menu.
Yeah.
Because everything else there is kind of it's understood, like grilled cheese,
Sure.
barbecue sandwiches, burgers, pizza. Everybody knows what that is. But when you see rice bowls, first of all, rice bowls, like Asian food, is not something you expect at Magnolia. You expect kind of like the comfort food, or like easily understood, whatever.
Sure.
So I explained the menu, but also some people will just wait in line and not listen to anything I say. Not even look at the menu, get all the way to the front and try to order a club sandwich.
Sure.
And so I get that frustration. I don't understand why somebody would wait, anywhere from a couple minutes to 20 minutes in line and not even glance at the menu.
Yeah.
But I get the frustration. So that's why I try to catch them early to let them know we don't do sandwiches.
Sure.
But also give them a sample. Say, you may not like it. I mean, you may want a club sandwich. I'm sorry we don't have it, but have a free sample.
Sure.
Yeah.
Even
if I give out samples to everybody.
Well, and one quick preference, because Youngdae, this podcast is worldwide, so we might have people in Indonesia that don't know what we're talking about. Right. So Magnolia is where
the fixer-upper,
Mecca. The silos is another name for it, and they have a food truck park.
Yeah.
So people can go shop inside and purchase things that Chip and Joanna, sell and all these things. But there's a bunch of food trucks, and so you are in that park with all these other food trucks that you're referencing.
Right.
One thing that you mentioned that I love this, and this is like Kyle Anderson here leaving this one-star review doesn't understand, is that you, like you said, you're out there giving samples, explaining the concept, engaging the customers. And I love all those other food trucks and the owners of those places, but I never see those owners out there.
Yeah.
And you are. And I think that is the touch that, again, Kyle, I know you were frustrated because it's a club sandwich, not a club sandwich food truck. And you don't serve club sandwiches, but you're Youngdae, usually you're always out there. And so
now, I'll give this guy the benefit of the doubt and say that I'm not out there from open to close. So maybe he came after I left or whatever.
Yeah.
I get the frustration.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a little insider or whatever,
sure,
not insider, but it's not a secret. But when you asked me to if I wanted to come on this thing, I was kind of hesitant. Not hesitant like whatever, but my whole thing with my whole relationship with reviews has changed. Now I get that business owners reviews they can help or hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I've been doing it long enough, I think, and my reviews generally are good enough that I don't pay attention. I mean, when I first opened, I would kind of obsessively look like every week or every whatever and see, if there's something new, what did they say? And if there was a negative one, I'd take it, pretty personally. And if there was a positive one, I'd feel really good about myself. Like, I finally did something good with my life. Anyway.
It would change your day there, and the better. Or the worse.
Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I don't really care. And that's why those two reviews are kind of, they're both kind of negative, but I have different reactions to them. So in general, if people have their own tastes and things like that. So if somebody says they don't like something, like they don't like, Asian food or Oriental food or whatever.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'll never make anything that will change their mind, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not even worth worrying about. If somebody says, I don't know, I think there was a review before where they were like, oh, we're super disappointed. The rice bowls were cold before we even finished them or whatever. And then I looked, and I was like, oh, you came in January. It's winter outside. What do you, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
he wants to give you a hand warmer for it or whatever.
Yeah, right.
So in general, I don't really care too much about reviews anymore.
Sure.
Now we get other reviews, like, you know, when we use Square to process our payments, and they'll send like, you know, kind of reactions or reviews or whatever, short ones.
Yeah.
And they always feel good. Now the ones that I like the best, that actually are more meaningful to me outside of the food, is I actually care less about the food reviews now. Is more about like the service and how we make people feel. Because like, you know, we're out there just trying to help them enjoy the experience and whatever, and try our best. You know, if you don't like, and we've had people say, well, this is not really something that we like, but you're doing a great job. We really appreciate you, whatever. That's great. So that review where the guy said, we don't even sell club sandwiches. Normally I would have just ignored, like saying, I don't care anymore. But for some reason that moment when I read it, I was feeling a little sassy. And I was like, so I said, you know, well, you know, but how are the service and food, you know? Because like, what I hate about, and every restaurant owner or bar owner will tell you, like when they review you for something that doesn't actually critique the quality of the food or the service, it's just something stupid. Like, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, like the whole cancel culture stuff going on. Like you review somebody for something political or whatever, which, you know, I'm guilty of, you know, hopping on that train too. But, you know what I mean? Like that's not that's kind of a crappy way to judge somebody's business based on some factors that aren't relevant to the business itself. So I just felt like being playful with this guy and saying, okay, well, you know, kind of passive aggressively, oh, well, you gave us a 1 star, but was the food and service good, or was it just the fact that we didn't sell? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I love that you bring that up. And I should have read your response, because you're right. I can see it right here. But were the food and service good? Question mark, with a smiley face emoji. So you were trying to be playful with it. That's good. What I've noticed on Google reviews, because the owner can kind of quote unquote get the last say, but what customers have learned is they can go back and edit their review, and they'll like put something in there that says response to owner's response, just so they know they're like reapplying to it, or last word freak. And he didn't do that, so Kyle didn't feel the need to come back over the top of you and say, well, no, the service was bad too.
Well, because I think I made a good point. I mean, I like to think, you know, when I'm steaming, I like to think that I got him.
You're like zinger. Okay,
but the other review,
we'll kind of okay, so it really touches on, we won't reread the whole thing, but give me your thoughts on the fact that they're basically saying this is not authentic Vietnamese food, and they're really hammering home this like the style of the food more so. You know, they're talking about Vietnamese, they talk about Viet American, they talk about true Asian food. Like they're kind of all over the place here, and then they name drop Clay Pot and say, skip this place, go to Clay Pot. I mean,
so that's another type of category of a review where I don't really care. Like, you know, again, I don't say like, oh, this is legit Korean. I mean, whenever the most nervous, I don't do this anymore, but when the first couple of years I opened, whenever I would get an Asian person in line, I would get nervous. I'm like, oh God, they're gonna know I'm a fraud.
they're gonna judge me
especially
hardcore.
If they're Korean. I'm like, the spicy pork is not what you think, or like, you know, oh, if you're Vietnamese, like, oh, are you sure you want to try this or whatever? And a lot of people, most of them love it. I mean, even the ones like the chicken's kind of like authentic. Like if they try the pork, it's not really authentic Korean, but they'll like it. But I set the expectation low, you know.
Sure.
But some people just like I don't claim to be like legit, you know, Asian food. I mean, one of my like slogan on my logo is Asian food, American style. That doesn't sound, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and I'll tell people, I mean, I'm completely, I firmly believe, like, you know, service wise or whatever, like, you be completely honest. I'll tell people, like, you don't want the chicken today because it's not very good. You know, you still have it, but you know, and somebody actually reviewed that. I think gave a review one time saying, like, you know, we appreciate him telling us, like, you know, not to get the beef today because it wasn't, you know, up to standard, but, you know, still sold it anyway. So
that's cool though. I mean, you're honest, like you're not trying to trick and bamboozle people.
And so, like that kind of review, I'm just like, well, I mean, you know, I wasn't gonna please them, you know. It wasn't, you know. I mean, it's not like I tried to lie to them, but I guess that's the gist of their reviews, that like they were misled, you know.
Sure.
And that's beyond my control, and I don't feel responsible for it, you know.
Yeah.
Now I can't remember if you read that other review about the portioning or not. That third one.
Well, let's dive into it. We'll read that one too. So we're breaking the rule a little bit. So this is a 3-star review. We'll be honest, but it does kind of lead into what we've been discussing with the other 1-star. So we'll read this off real quick. Dan N. Now I will say something about Dan. So, you know, when we read these reviews, you kind of can get a sense of if these people write reviews very often or not, based on their like scores, like on Yelp and Google and places. So Dan here reviews a lot of places. This guy is on point, 176 reviews. So he considers himself a review aficionado. Okay.
I don't know if you watch South Park. You watch
A little bit.
So there was an episode about Yelp reviewers, and whenever I think about Yelp and like people who review a lot, like that's what I think about. Like everybody thinks like they're the food critic in town or whatever. So
just because they're the Yelp reviewer.
Yeah.
I will say, in doing my research for this podcast, I've learned that Yelp has definitely the most like strict reviewers. Like a lot of 1-star reviews come from Yelp for some reason. And again, maybe you're right. They all think they're food critics and they want to be very judgmental here. So Dan said, love Asian food and flavors. All right. So he's starting to get you in a good spot there. Love Asian food and flavors. Wanted to enjoy this place more than I did.
Plot twist.
Service was
bad.
And here you go. Here's a testament to you. Service was very friendly, offering samples while waiting in line. So we know Dan interacted with you. Okay. When ordering, asked which meat option had the most flavor. Was told the beef and took recommendation. All right. It tasted like basic roast beef. So not top of the line roast beef, but basic roast beef, and was far from advertised. 1/4 serving. Okay, so he was measuring there.
So meaning like I always tell people 1 serving of meat is about 1/4 pound.
Is about 1/4 pound.
So he's saying he got way less than that.
But he's saying he got far from the advertised 1/4 pound. Gotcha. Serving size of both bowls I ordered were very small. Next time, I'll probably play it safer with the grilled cheese or pizza food trucks. So what were your thoughts there? I mean, were you like, you met this guy Youngdae, you talked to him. You don't remember Dan, but you talked to him.
I actually respect that review. And so, you know, everything I've said up to this point is like, I don't care about reviews. I think, you know, whatever. So that's not true. Like, I think, especially when you're starting, I think you shouldn't let reviews dictate, you know, like, your pursuit of running a business. Just because like you may open and get a bunch of bad reviews doesn't mean you should give up. I actually like constructive criticism, and I think a lot of reviews. I have taken a lot of direction from reviews, and if it's something I think is legitimate, I'll implement changes. You know, based on changes to service or food or seasoning or, you know, whatever. I'm very open, you know, because I want to, you know, I'm here to serve people. Like, I mean, not to like make it sound like such a grand, noble, you know, calling, but I think like, especially being at a tourist destination like Magnolia, like these people are there to have a good time, and I want to contribute to that. Like, if, you know, whether it's a good experience or like I'll joke with people, put them in a good mood, whatever. So I totally can see everything that he wrote being accurate. So I probably was the one, you know, giving out samples and stuff, but I would never recommend the beef. Beef is good. I tell people it doesn't suck, but it's our least popular. So I'm automatically thinking, reading his review, maybe like whoever was at the window, you know, probably one of my new employees at the time, recommended the beef. So yeah, I mean, I can understand him, you know, if he got the beef, it's like a slightly sweeter pot roast.
Sure. Well, and I'll say, as a, you know, and all full disclosure, I'm a frequent visitor of Club Sandwich. You know how much I love it. You're the reason I I fight the tourist traffic at the silos just to come get my club sandwich. There's also a lot else going on the bowl, and I get it. The meat, the protein, that's what people enjoy and they remember, but there's the cabbage, there's the rice, there's the carrots, the pickled
sweet pickled carrots,
and the cucumbers, like all of that, or not the cucumbers, is it zucchini?
No, fresh cucumbers.
Fresh cucumbers. Yeah. It's like all that is amazing. So he's counting, judging by how much meat he's getting on there.
Yeah.
So
So I will say this. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
Well, no, I was just saying that I wish there would have been more emphasis on it as a whole, not just talking about I didn't get enough beef.
But I'm a value shopper. I'm Asian, so I'm can be a value shopper. Like when I go somewhere, I want to make sure I'm getting my money's worth. And I agree. Like if it seemed like far shy of less than a quarter pound, then I emphasize that. I'm saying don't get the double meat unless you want to mix two kinds. Otherwise, one serving is a quarter pound. So I encourage people, if they only want like one kind of meat, instead of like trying to just milk everybody for the upcharge, like I say, if you only want like chicken, don't get double chicken,
Sure.
Because a quarter pound is plenty. Now, so they probably took my advice, but got the, and so like there are times where I'll see bowls coming out. And my employees are great; they work hard, whatever. But sometimes, when there's a line and whatever, they just kind of misjudge or mismeasure. And I've seen bowls come out with, a tiny amount of meat, and so I'll stop it and I'll take it back inside and add more or whatever,
Sure.
So I don't question that, having that he got a crappy serving and that it made a big difference.
Well, how often do people come back up to you and they say, hey, like, do they ever bring the food back to you? Or like, I didn't get enough of this or that, or can you change this? Like, does that happen often?
Not often, but people do it because I tell them, if you need more vegetables or sauce, we don't charge you for it, so come on back. So I always tell people, like, I'll stop people while they're ordering because they're about to order something. I'm like, well, maybe you should try it first, because I want them to be absolutely sure.
Yeah.
So I go out of my way. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I know a lot of places will just try and get you through, get you to order something and then pay and leave. I want people to pick their, make sure they like it and pick their favorite one. So I'll give them a bunch of, even though they may not want to sample anything besides the chicken, I'll encourage them, like, try it, because most people, some people will feel bad about taking too many samples. And so I'll be like, no, try it. Cause I want, like, people will try to order the beef. I'll like, try it, and they go, no, it's okay. And I'm like, please, I don't want you to hate it, But so some people will come back asking for more of something, but that's because I told them we do it. We've rarely had people. I can't even remember one where somebody had returned it because they hated it.
Yeah.
Maybe they just saved the review for Yelp.
Yeah, they did. They're just gonna blast you online later.
Again, so this guy, I actually feel bad. I feel like he had a bad experience, legitimately, for valid reasons. And so this is an example where I would tell people, especially timing wise, like just, a few months ago, that's about the time I had, a new staff with, people who haven't been working long. I'll tell them, never recommend I'll tell them, but also make sure not to, stiff them on meat. So like, I'm kind of somebody like, I would rather not sell something than sell it that's kind of half-assed or whatever,
Sure.
I'll say, if we don't have something, just don't sell it. Just close. If we run out of something, close.
Yeah.
Rather than whatever. We'll run out of like meats, but I'm saying like say everything's bad. It's never happened where everything was bad at the same time, but I'll be like, just close. I don't want to sell bad food.
Yeah. There's no reason to push that out.
And I don't want to like sell like half portions. Now we do offer things where like, if you want it less, or perfect example.
Yeah.
Last week and a half, chicken has been scarce. It's various reasons. I don't know, like, with the pandemic, some factories or places were closed for a while. And then I heard another reason was that with the freeze, a lot of like chicks died or whatever. Also, and then another thing I heard is that like all these people got like child tax credit or stimulus or whatever, so people are buying all this food, so there's a shortage of whatever. So for whatever reason,
they're just storing up the chicken in their house.
Well,
or something?
Just for whatever reason, a lot of food is like, especially meats, have been hard to come by.
Oh my!
And so last week there was a couple of days where I didn't like, normally we'll have like 4 containers of chicken like on a busy day, but I only had like 2. So I was like, well, we can't like not open because, that just looks bad. But I said, okay, I told my cook, I said, put a little less chicken
Okay.
Like
Like a tiny bit.
Yeah, like a tiny less just to make it go further, but discount every bowl like $1.
Oh,
And so,
okay.
and then I told Dane, who works the window, who takes orders and everything, let everybody know, they'll be confused, but we don't, they may, we just want them to know. We don't want them to feel duped,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like, why is there less movement? Well, because this is why,
Yeah.
Then let me tell you what's happening, and then you can make the decision whether you think it's still worth trying or not. So
That makes sense.
Yeah, full disclosure, like anytime, like if we ran out of something, but it's gonna we ran out of rice, but it's gonna take like 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Let them know before they order, so they can decide whether they want to.
And you've told me that one time where it's hard. You want to be honest. If you know it's going to be 20 more minutes for rice, don't tell them 10, because then they're back there wondering where it is. Like I know it sucks to tell them 20 minutes.
I'd rather tell them it's longer than shorter.
Shorter, because then their expectations are met. So tell me how. Okay, we've had these reviews. We've read 3 of them. You've touched on this a little bit, but we'll kind of put a bow on it. So reading these and using these now catapulting you to the future. What were the things that you took away that has made your business thrive and you be a better business owner because of not maybe these reviews specifically, but these or other ones you've got?
I think in general, so there are so for me, the biggest thing is like if you're doing food is so subjective that, like, I mean, there are criticisms that are undeniable, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there was hair in here or something
sure.
like that, or there's roaches everywhere, or it's dirty. That's universally understood to be bad.
Yeah.
Now, if they're like, oh, I don't like this kind of food, then, well, whatever. So, like, I rarely take criticisms on, like, reviews, like, criticism of food.
Sure.
To make a decision. Mostly it's about criticisms about like maybe portion or like service, like, oh, they were rude or what. I mean, I can't think of one where like we got a review that said they were rude. But I think there was one where they were like, oh, we came up and then they were just on their phone. And I was like, no, that's terrible. And that's why I say, like, be attentive. Like, even if they're not, sometimes they're not on their phone, don't just stand there like waiting for them to say something. Like, greet them, and stuff. Sure. So I like the things I take away from reviews are more about like logistics or service. Like, again, I said good reviews on our service are more rewarding than good reviews on like the quality of food. Because again, food is so subjective. Like, some people may just nothing I do would ever, please them. Like, I could give them a crap ton of like extra meat, but they don't like the way, soy sauce tastes or whatever. So,
but you can control the customer service.
Yeah. And there are people who say like that one guy, I think he said like service was great, whatever, like, food. Yeah. Now I think we could have had him, give him a good experience if, again, we gave him the right amount of food and recommended the correct things. But, if not, like, if he never would have liked the food, then at least he said the service was good.
Yeah, so, he led with that and was like in line too. So that definitely makes you feel good. Yeah. So where's Club Sandwich going now? What's the future hold?
Last year was brutal, like it was for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically went broke, but now I'm kind of rebuilding and stuff, and it's been good so far.
Good.
A lot of those SBA loans helped. So I'm basically saving up to try and open a restaurant, like a brick and mortar, so that, if something goes wrong. Right now, I mean, love Magnolia, like they are, they're good. If you're a food truck, you can't be in a better spot, because they bring you new customers every day.
All the time. Right? Yep.
And that's another good thing is that, like, it's always somebody new. 90% of people you see every day are new, so they haven't had it, so they don't know what to expect. Yeah, that's why I'm outside every day sweating my balls off. But
you're about to get into the hot weather now.
It's already started. It sucks. But I'd like to, when the pandemic closed everything, we were at their mercy. We couldn't serve because they were closed. They weren't getting people. And then when they did reopen, they decided to renovate the whole grounds, which it paid off now because it's super nice. But we lost another like 6 months of business on top of that. So I'd like to have my own place to be able to control more of, like, how to adapt to things and whatever, and have other opportunities. But also to kind of expand, instead of just being a one-trick pony with rice bowls. I've been developing like a menu and recipes for a few years, and kind of want to take a bigger shot and see if it works or it doesn't. And definitely won't be called Club Sandwich.
I think
so. You'll know it's Asian food.
You'll know it's Asian food, the true club. Youngdae, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Yeah.
I appreciate the time. Definitely, if you're in town, get some club sandwich. I promise you'll get more than a quarter, or
Don't
at least
get
a
the
quarter.
beef.
Don't get the beef.
Yeah.
Don't get the beef. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. And this is another episode of One Star Rewind. I'm Cory Dickman, Youngdae Moon. Y'all have a good
Bye.
day.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.